All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the stream. Chat is quiet. There's no chat. It's okay. I'm sure that it will start up sooner than we all think. But in the meantime, before I get into what I'm going to be working on this evening, I want to remind everyone that Gunforged is available for purchase. It's my first release as a full-time commercial dev, and or first commercial release as a full-time indie dev, I guess is the way to say it. And so yeah, check that out. It's a great way to support me. It's linked below. I also have my co-op online multiplayer course for Godot available for purchase as well. This will teach you everything you need to know about making an online cooperative multiplayer game using Godot's high-level networking tools. So if that's something that you've been interested in learning, it's a great opportunity to get it. And it also supports me quite a lot, so appreciate any and all of you who purchased that. And yeah, so what I'm doing right now, what I've been doing this afternoon is I've been working on implementing a wave function collapse algorithm for generating enemy boards, because previously the way that I was generating my boards is I was doing it with this tool here, this board configuration editor, where I would just drag cards over and like put them on here, and then I would save the configuration as a JSON file, and all those JSON files were loaded at runtime, and then the run generator could just pick one of those pre-made configurations and have the player fight them. But the problem is that as I'm adding new stuff like the barkeep and the Stein here, the problem here is that I then need to go in and add a bunch of new board configurations. And the problem is that any of the existing board configurations that I created will not have the new cards that I'm adding. So I either need to go back into old configurations and edit them, or create boards that are very similar to the old configurations with new cards. So I feel like it's going to be really impossible for me to by hand make a bunch of configurations where there's a lot of variety, where the barkeep can be next to a sword or next to a dog, or the training dummies. What is he doing here? Get out of here, training dummy. Or next to a villager. You know what I mean? It's like, and as this enemy list is going to grow, it's going to become increasingly hard to make a variety of boards by hand. So what I've done now is I've got this WFC button up here, which stands for Wave Function Control. If I click that, it generates a board for me. And the board is actually being generated in a way that sort of maximizes the adjacency stuff. So I'm trying to find an example here. Whoops. Trying to find an example. Let's see if we can get a windmill. There's a windmill. And of course it actually didn't output anything. Oh goodness, wait. That didn't work. Anyway. So the windmill has to be placed next to adjacent, or has to have adjacent minions. So in this case, the chicken got placed adjacent to it. We've got chickens and the dog adjacent to it there. And yeah, so that's basically what we've got going on. Sorry, I'm just examining this. But I think it's working pretty good. So I'm going to get a lot more variety out of this. For sure. And this is going to be even more apparent as I add more enemy cards. So this is basically all I have right now, though. It's just this button allows me to randomize the contents of the board here. this is not integrated with the game more broadly. And the reason is because there's actually a slight performance issue. So if I go up to like a 6x6 board, there is a slight delay in terms of generating the board, which if I do this at runtime with the delay that it has currently, that's going to be a little bit not good. You know what I mean? Also, I'm going to want to run some tests to see how often certain cards appear, because I want to make sure that all the cards are roughly appearing as often as they should. So we're going to probably do a bunch of testing and whatnot before I go hard on integrating this into the game, but I could just show you this real quick before I say hi to the chat here. So I've got some logs in here. So yeah, 6x6 board is taking 73 milliseconds to generate, which takes 50 or so iterations. Typically, it could take anywhere from 30 to 50 iterations, I think, or 36 to 50 iterations. And I also have these logs in here. This log where it says adding to tree took 1.15 milliseconds. You can see that all of these lines are roughly taking 1 millisecond. This is actually measuring the code that is adding the card visual to the scene tree. So every card that gets added takes anywhere from 800 milliseconds to 1200 milliseconds to add to the tree. And if you do that, 24 times or whatever, then, well, that adds up. So you could almost subtract 24 milliseconds from this final number, but we're still going to be at 49 milliseconds, which is too long. So I need to figure out if I can get this down to a real-time time, I guess. Like, ideally, it should generate in less than 16 milliseconds, because 16 milliseconds is how much time there is between each frame in a 60 FPS game. Ideally, it would take 5 to 10 milliseconds, and then the user or the player basically wouldn't notice it, especially if it's being generated during a transition where the screen is pure black. You're not going to notice a little hitch of 10 milliseconds. So there's a lot of stuff to investigate still, but that's what we'll be doing on the stream. Hello, Emerson. Welcome back. Budget Jim, good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Lucas. Welcome, welcome. Emerson's here. Refactoring collapse is such a big name for such a simple concept. Yeah, I mean, it kind of intimidated me, to be honest, but yeah, it's really simple, actually. You just have like a grid and you choose something that you place on the first grid cell, and then the other grid cells have their possibilities reduced in accordance with some constraint. So in this case, basically what I do is let's see, what do I do? I think I have to make my wave function collapse a little bit more sophisticated. It's very basic right now, but basically we've got this filter cards by query option. So there are query options which define basically how cards affect other cards. And I'm just doing that filtering to reduce the space, which I think I can actually make this a little bit better. Let me write a note for that. Oh, and this is taking forever. Okay, we're going to close this. Anyway, hello, Crames. Welcome back. Great to see you again. Neozoid lurking. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Julio. Let's go indeed. Raphael, welcome. I think I don't get it. Are you planning to use this at runtime or dev time? Runtime if possible, but if I have to pre-generate board configurations like I'm doing now, and I can just use wave function collapse to do it, then I can do that as well. Hello, iCode stuff. Yeah, so we got a lot of stuff to look at right now. I think the most pressing issue is trying to get this to a reasonable amount of time to generate. And I think what that's going to entail, I think the reason why a lot of it is taking a good chunk of time is because I'm hooking into the board inventory component. to check certain operations. So inside of this generator here, which is the wave function collapse, this try generate board, this has a while loop in here. So it's going to the board inventory component, trying to place the card in position. What this does is this will emit that card place signal, and then that triggers the card visual being added to the tree. So I think what I need to do is kind of create I need to do something with this board inventory component to basically only have like a data only mode where it's only changing the data. The other thing I could do, which maybe I should try. Actually, let me do that. So right now in my board configuration editor, okay, I'm jumping around. Let's do this first. Although I already have made a bunch of performance improvements, the initial naive implementation took like sometimes over a second to generate. And so now it's down to 74 milliseconds, but we got to go further. So my board configuration editor right here is passing in the board inventory component here. I wonder if I generate a new one. Var I'm just going to create a board inventory component. Set board dimensions. Vector 2 I.1 times 6. Actually, I guess I can get... Actually, I can do this. Board.board inventory component.dimensions. Test component. All right, let's see what that does. Hello, MKRD. What are you using wave function collapse for? For generating the enemy boards. All right. Okay, MKRD. All right. Anyway. Completed after 61 iterations. How long did that take? Where am I going? I need to go to my log. So, yeah, 64 milliseconds. It still takes 64 milliseconds. 54 milliseconds, 52 milliseconds, 51 milliseconds. I feel like that shouldn't be taking nearly that long. Is there still something wrong with the board? I almost wonder if... Let's see. I might need to make the board inventory just like a pure C# thing, but I don't know how to really measure if the board is the problem. Let me try something. Oh, I need to go to my... What am I doing? Let's see if I remove... I'm just going to comment out all the emit signals, because this is going to be interacting with the Godot API. So I wonder if I can just do this. Let's see if that makes any difference whatsoever. Probably not, but let's see. Still 66 milliseconds. So maybe it's not a problem with the board inventory component at all. which means that the time is entirely in here. I feel like it shouldn't take that long. I don't need that anymore. Maybe this filter here. Let's get rid of that filter. See what kind of... I mean, that's going to break the wave function collapse, but I'm just curious. Okay, so what is taking so long? I need to figure out what the heck is taking so long. I mean, I guess it could be... I don't want to refactor this board inventory component to like a pure C# class until I'm sure that that's what's causing the issue. Are you having performance issues? Well, not exactly. I mean, it takes 50 seconds to generate a 6x6 board for the enemy, or 50 milliseconds, which is not, I mean, it's a couple of frames, basically. What is that? Yeah, so I mean, a couple of frames of lag is not good. What is that, like 3 or 4 frames out of 60 FPS? I just don't know how to measure what exactly is taking so long. And I don't think it's going through these max attempts. I think if I log this, that's not going to do anything. Wave function collapse in my Godot game, yeah. Where to use WFC for the enemy board generation here. Yeah, so it's not even doing multiple different attempts either. Actually, now that I look at it, it's impossible for this to not succeed. So we actually don't even need this. You know what? It might just be this tile data here because it's creating... Oh yeah, that's probably it actually. So every time I initialize the tile data, it's creating a new array, but it's also creating new cards every time. So I think what I need to do is, let me think. That might be the entire issue. If I just move the start time after the initialized tiles, I bet you that's going to be a huge time save. So I think that's probably where the majority of the issue is coming from. Oops. I need to apply this first. Oh. I think that was it. Oh, it's not working still? Did I do something wrong? Oh, right. I need to put this back. Oops. Hello, James. Good day to you as well. Welcome to the stream. If I drew a fan art, would you check that out? Possibly. Yeah, if you want to do a fan art, go ahead. You can share it on my X account, or yeah, if you have a place that's easy for me to see on stream. Finished after 36 milliseconds. Right, so all of this here, how many lines is this? This is line 4 to line 27. So that's 20, 24, 23 milliseconds. So yeah, if I subtract 23 from this, that's 3 milliseconds. Or no, 13 milliseconds. So the board configuration editor is definitely adding some overhead as a result of adding nodes to the tree. And again, if I go to my board configuration editor and I just use a board inventory component that's not connected to a board, that speeds things up quite a bit. Now, I think I'm not going to want to generate this directly to a board anyway, because I'm going to want to generate the board configuration ahead of time. It says 0 milliseconds. I'm not even entirely sure that that's working, to be honest. I mean, it did do 41 iterations, though. Let's put a breakpoint there. Attach to process. Godot. WFC. Now, if I look at the board inventory component here, yeah, all the cards are in here and they're placed on the board. So yeah, I think, so basically there's two major places where the time is being eaten up. One is the actual placement of the visual cards, like the visual representation of the card in the scene tree, which definitely does not need to be, like, that can just be done at the time that the board is instantiated, because I'm going to be generating the combat encounters as part of the map generation. And that's going to be seeded as well, so that every enemy encounter is the same if you have the same seed, right? So the big issue here is this initialize tiles, which creates new tile data, and inside of the tile data, it's creating base cards out of every enemy ID. Which is a little bit of a problem because it's creating the card instance from the resource. So it's loading up the resource, then it's creating the card instance, then it's creating a brand new array from all those things. This is only going to get worse as the number of enemy cards increases. So I need a way of getting around that. Well, you could do that before the run starts too, yeah. Not sure exactly what I could draw. I don't know, Phoenix, Barkeep, I don't know. Love the color palette of this game, thank you. Yes, that's correct. Low spec, yep, low spec. Do I have blue sky? I do not have blue sky. We need the Discord server. Soon enough, soon enough. Thank you, MKRD. Can your card occupy across 4 tiles? Yeah, I mean, a card can occupy an indeterminate amount of tiles. Flyweight pattern? IDK, I'm not that experienced. I don't know what the flyweight pattern is. I've heard it, but I just don't know the implementation details. Are you gonna try to have a balanced amount of different cards, as in the same amount of minions, rituals, and etc.? I can add more constraints to the wave function collapse as it grows. Right now, the only constraints are really, if I place a card that affects other cards, then that collapses the possibility space for the tiles into cards that can be affected by that card that was placed. So it's a little bit simplistic right now. I'm going to want to add more rules into it. But like I said, my main concern right now is like getting it to generate in a sensible amount of time and getting it wired into the game where I can actually play test it and see if it's producing, you know, combat encounters that are actually interesting. And then I have to, you know, figure out a way of scaling the board and all that stuff. So I'm sure that this enemy board generator is going to grow in complexity over time. But yeah, we're just gonna go with this. I wonder if I could just store all of these as IDs and then only instantiate the card when I actually need the card instance. So because if I'm collapsing a bunch of, I mean, first of all, the overwhelming majority of the cards that are possible to place at a cell are not going to be placed. So I don't actually need a reference to the base card instance until I actually need to do something with it. So let's change this to possible card IDs. We'll disconnect. And this is a list of string. Now I can just do this. So that should be a lot quicker. Select a random card ID. This returns a string. So this is the point where I'm going to need to create the card. Create card with selected card ID here. False. Card registry.fromID. Excuse me. Oh, I guess I need to create the card up here. Oops. That's not gonna work. Oh man, that's not gonna work. I was so excited. So the other thing I could do is I could do this. Let's do this. Private list, base card, all concrete cards. So if I just create these initially just once, then down here what I can do is possible card IDs where Do I need to create a dictionary? Hold on, let me think. Let's do dictionary, string base card. Okay, maybe that will work. So this is all concrete cards. Card ID. All concrete cards. What? I can make this a private, I can make this public. Protected. Does that work? And since this is static here, that won't be regenerated on subsequent board generations. So, okay. So now we can measure this with start time. I don't even know if this is going to work, but let's see. Let's see. It's time for game dev once again. Yes, indeed. Does your card factory create the visual component or the card or just the backend data behavior? Want to use this pattern in my game, but curious how your card architecture works. So I have a need of being able to have the card data, but not have it attached to a node until I need it to be attached to a node. So the card factory just creates the concrete class that and wires up all the definitional or the data to it. And then the visual component will get created at the moment that I want to add that card to the board. So it doesn't create it immediately because I may just want to create cards for the purpose of like passing around some data. Oops, we have an issue here. Oh, value cannot be null. Oh, I see. I think in here... card ID equals null or. I think that will fix that. I'll draw a phoenix and others for sure. Yeah, I think having the same limited color palette will also be a great exercise. Yeah, for sure. Hello, Chris. Welcome back. Yeah, if you do end up doing the... Yeah, just tag me on X if you end up doing that fan art. That'd be sweet. Apply dimensions. What? Okay, let's rework this a little bit. This should be logically equivalent, unless I did something wrong. Okay. For sure, yeah. The selected card ID is returning null. I think it was, yeah. Okay, I don't think anything's going to appear, but let's see. So I just did that a couple times. Let's see. There we go. So with those changes, so the first one was 14 milliseconds, and I think that's because If I'm not mistaken, the way that C# works is that the static values, the static member values, are not generated until the first time they're referenced. So that means that the first generation is going to take longer than the subsequent generations, because that's the line that's basically instantiating all the cards. This is going to become a problem though, because I only have like a dozen maybe enemy cards, and it's taking quite a long time to create the classes for them. So that could be a problem. But again, I mean, I guess that's something that I could do on like initial load of the game. Like I could just get all of these things and front load that wait time. So I could have like a loading screen, and even if it takes 200 milliseconds at the loading screen to create all of these base card instances, once those are created, because this is static, that's never going to happen again. So there are ways around that too, but we'll just keep going here. So nothing visually is happening, but I'm just spamming that. Yeah, so we're down to 7 milliseconds. It looks like is the longest amount of time that it takes. Which it'd be nice to get that down even further, but this also, the thing to keep in mind is that this is a 6x6 board. This is a very large board. Probably you're not going to be seeing this kind of size board until the end game. Realistically, you're going to be seeing more like 3x2. And if I generate that, yeah, we're taking, I mean, I would have to increase the precision of the logging here, but it's anywhere between 0, we'll call it 0 and 2 milliseconds, I guess, to generate that board. Four by 4. You're learning how to math? No, I'm not. I'm not. Welcome back, Aniki, by the way. So, okay, so that made a big difference. Now let's go back to the board configuration editor, and let's do this now. Let's pass in board.board inventory component here so that it actually places the cards on the board. And we can see how long that takes now. So a 3x3 board is taking how long? 9 milliseconds. Okay, but a lot of the time is the actual creation of the visual nodes. So 9 milliseconds is still okay, especially since, again, I'm not going to be placing the nodes on the board at the time that the board is generated. So realistically, this is actually going to be taking 2 steps, right? When I first generate the map, that's where it's going to generate all the combat encounters. But then when I go into an individual combat encounter, that's where all the cards are going to be placed on the board. So realistically, when I go into a combat encounter, it's just going to take however long it takes to add all the cards visually to the board. So I think it's going to be all right. I think it's going to be okay. 6x6. So yeah, there's a problem here. Oops. So I think I just need to make sure my constraints are all correct as well. So that windmill got placed next to 2 minions. This windmill got placed next to 1 minion, so that's good. And I can make my entropy stuff a little bit more sophisticated too. So there's a lot of little tweaks I can make, but really all that I'm after is that I want the boards that are generated to be sensible in that the cards are at least creating some benefit, right? Like, okay, so here's a problem. This windmill was created, but it doesn't have it doesn't have any beneficiaries. That windmill was placed well, though. That windmill was also placed well. That one was also placed well. So was that one. Look at that. So I think generally speaking, I'm getting a lot of use out of the wave function collapse here. It's certainly creating boards that are going to be more challenging than if the cards were just all placed randomly. Oh yeah, that windmill, look at that, placed right with a bunch of chickens there. Now the other problem is that something like the barkeep affects the entire board. So what that's doing is that's essentially, as soon as the barkeep gets placed, all of the tiles that don't have a card are having their options of cards they can place reduced down to anything that's a minion. So basically what's happening is as soon as the barkeep gets placed, basically everything else that gets placed after that is going to be a minion. I think that's how it's working. So that's going to need some tweaking as well. But the point is that none of these things are what? They're not they're not insurmountable obstacles. Like it's very easy to get that stuff to work with this simple algorithm here. So I think it'll be fine. So I think it's at an acceptable speed now in terms of the generation. Probably we'll have to make more tweaks to how fast it works, especially as I start building out more enemy cards. But I think for now, it's okay. Been making a lot of particle and UI textures recently. Are you enjoying that? I kind of like making particles. Hello, Rodrigo. What are we doing right now? We are getting enemy board generation working. Board looks terrifying to fight. Yeah, they do. Hello, Rin. Welcome back. Always great to see you. Always happy to see you. Is it possible to see what the WSC is running step by step? I've not implemented that yet. I think I could do that, or at least I could log what's happening. I think that's the way I would do it. I would log what moves it's making, and then if I needed to, I would just make a separate tool that could read that log output and create a visualization for me, but I haven't gone that far yet. You implemented wave function collapse. Last I mentioned, you said, I don't know how to do that. Yeah, I decided that I was going to learn. Also, it just seemed like something that would be good for my purposes, so yeah. I watched the coding train about wave function collapse. Is that a video? I just read a bunch of blog posts and had a discussion with the AI. Which the AI actually did a pretty decent job of explaining everything and how it's going. So anyway, yeah, this lowest entropy, this one is just, all this is doing is just counting the available cards at any given tile, or all the possible cards that could be placed at any tile. So this could be made a little bit more sophisticated, I think, as well. Coding train is a channel, gotcha. I don't need this reset board anymore. I actually wonder, GD print statements are pretty slow. I wonder if that was making any noticeable impact in the generation time. Probably not. Let's do a 10 by 10 board and see how long it takes. Oh goodness. So there's another windmill that got placed. So I would want to know why that windmill is getting placed and not affecting anything. I think worst case scenario, I could detect that the windmill has been placed and is not affecting anything and can remove it. Let me think. That windmill is good. That one's good. That one's okay. That one's good. That one's also good. So generally speaking, it's doing it well. That one is not good. That one's good. That one's good. That one's good. Anyway, let's see how long the 10 by 10. So that's 100 cells, right? 10 by 10. So let's see how long that's taking to generate. So 71 milliseconds, but again, a lot of that is just going to be the placement of the cards here. So this right here is 50 plus milliseconds, if I were to estimate it. So again, if I go to my board configuration editor here, and if I just do this, if I just create a board inventory component that does not do anything, what in the heck? Oh, board inventory component. I'm just going to do vector2i.1 times 10. So if this is not doing the visual component, we can see how long this takes. Yeah, so first iteration takes 35 milliseconds, but then the next ones take 15 or 16 milliseconds. So that's filling up to 100 cells only takes 16 milliseconds. So not terrible, not terrible. Obviously, it'd be better to get that done. But again, I really don't think that there's going to be anything like a 10 by 10 board in the game. I feel like that would just completely break the game. Probably the boards will max out at 6 by 6 or something, maybe 7 by 7. But I really don't foresee that the enemy board's getting much larger than that. So I'm going to say that the speed here is acceptable for now. And if I need to come up with a different way of generating that stuff, I mean, I have a bunch of ideas. So one of the slow parts is that I have to create that base card instance. What I could do is I could run pre-processing on the enemy cards just to get the relevant constraint information that I need, store that as something different, like in a pure C#, and then transform my wave function collapse so that it's not interacting with the Godot API at all. So that would be one way of improving the speed there. But I don't need to go that far yet, so I'm just going to leave it there. And we're going to call it good. Okay, so enough about the speed stuff. The next thing to do is to actually get this hooked into the game. And one thing I haven't figured out yet is how I'm going to actually scale the board. So the AI was recommending that I put like enemy scaling information into the board itself, or into the algorithm itself, but I don't think I want to do that. I think what I want to do is use the wave function collapse to generate a sensible board layout, and then I'll write my own like little algorithm, I guess you could say, that kind of estimates how strong the board is, and then adjusts the strength of the board by just randomly upgrading cards on the board until it's roughly where it should be in terms of strength. So that's going to be a much more subjective kind of thing to do. But anyway. So let's do this. Performance improvements to WFC. I don't know why you keep talking about KFC. I thought you liked McDonald's. It's also called reduction of the state vector. Wikipedia has a great page on the process. Okay. Is this some debug helper in the top right? Yeah. Well, this is a tool that I made for making boards, and I just adapted this so that I could visualize the wave function collapse. So it's a little editor tool, or not an editor tool, but it's a development tool that I made. Particle textures are easy in 3D, a lot of geometric shapes. You just need to know a lot about how you're going to animate or blend them. Gotcha. Sorry to bother, but how do the combat works? Are these tiles entities? How does a combat loop look like? How do you define the mill placement is good, for example, looking neat? So the combat, it's an auto battler, so every card on the board has a turn cooldown, and when the turn cooldown expires, it executes whatever ability is associated with it. So if you're familiar with auto battlers, that should sound very familiar. But how do I define the mill placement as is good? The mill affects minion cards. The mill increases the speed of the minion cards, which means that the amount of turns that they need to execute is reduced. And that's what the wave function collapse is for. It's for narrowing the possibility space of each tile position so that the card that gets placed at that tile position is likely to be benefited by tiles that have been placed before it, essentially, if that makes sense. Am I going to make a skull-shaped board? No, I think I'm sticking with rectangular boards for now. Endless mode with infinite board size achievable would be cool, yeah. Is it a composition anti-pattern for my HUD's health bar component to need my player's health bar component as an input? Oh, health component as an input. Let's see here. I mean, I think if you're making just like a... Let me think. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's necessary. I think if you're making your game UI, you can just have the player like register with the game UI in some way. I think in Gunforged for that kind of thing, I think I was just using a global event to indicate when the player health changed, and then I was hooking into that in my UI. But I wasn't providing direct references to the player health component, I don't think. I think it all depends on how easy it is to get your health component into the UI. Like if you feel like it's very unwieldy to get that information to the UI, then maybe think about a different approach, but for WFC, that's figuring out the optimal enemy card placement. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's optimal, but it does, yeah, it does tend to produce board configurations that are more sensical in terms of, you know, cards that buff other cards are actually buffing other cards. Because if you just place cards randomly on the board, and you have a card that's like, oh, this buffs adjacent minions, the chance that you're going to get adjacent minions is basically just up to pure chance, right? Whereas with the WFC, what it does is that when it's properly implemented, it basically says each tile in the grid can have any card in the enemy roster placed on it. But as soon as you place a card at a tile, then what you do is, if that card, for instance, affects adjacent tiles, like the windmill affects adjacent tiles, then what happens is you take all of the adjacent tiles to that windmill that you just placed, and you collapse their state down to only be able to place cards that will benefit from the windmill, right? So you're starting off with this broad state, and then as you're entering things into the board, the state, the possible cards that can be placed on other tiles are reduced only to the sensible options. Aloha from the beach. Oh, beach day, huh? Welcome, Anthony. Maybe use event bus pattern. Oh yeah, for Siwi. Maybe you could have some event bus singleton that player. Yeah. I think event bus is the way to go. Because if it's just a single player game and your UI needs to know what the player health is, you could just make that like a signal bus or event bus, a global event or whatever you want to call it, and then just listen for that on the UI. So you're not establishing a direct reference to the player, but you're still responding to player health updates. So there's attack cards and support cards that buffs the attack cards. Yeah. Wave function collapse with the price of eggs these days. Hello, Adam. Welcome back. Clever use of wave function collapse. Yeah, I think so. It wasn't entirely my idea. I was brainstorming with the AI. I was like, give me a bunch of ideas for how I can do this. And wave function collapse came up again, and I've heard it several times just in my game dev career, I guess you could say. I was like, okay, is it finally time to actually know what wave function collapse is? And I think I have a decent handle on it now. No, by no means an expert. I'm sure I'm gonna have a lot more to study there as I continue building out that system, but I think it's working pretty well right now. So I think the next step now is to get this hooked into the game. And I don't know how to do that. Son of a bee. How am I going to do that? So I have the scaled board configuration model. So this, right now, it's reading from JSON. Oh, the other change I want to make to this enemy board generator is right now this is just a flat list of cards that can be chosen, IDs. I want to make this a loot table as well so I can control the rarity of cards. But that will come later. That will come later. Oh boy, this is going to be tough. Let's see. Working on lock-on right now, though. Camera 3D unproject position cuts the hard part to seconds. Ooh. What does that do? Does that get the screen position of a position in the world? Yep, screen position of a 3D point. Yeah, cool. Load scaled board configuration. Combat, okay, so combat configuration. So it's generating the combat encounters in here in the seated run. Pick configuration, pick board configurations. Here we go. Enemy board configuration manager, pick board configurations. This returns. Okay. So I'm going to need to rip this out and do something else. This is why we do things on different branches, everybody. You can see down here I've got my wave function collapse branch, so I could go in and wantonly destroy everything without worry. The thing is, I don't think I need this model anymore. So this basically is just going to go away. So I'm going to need an algorithm for determining difficulty as well. Well, one thing at a time. Let's just get this working. Enemy board configuration manager. I don't think this is necessary. So I need a way of storing the board configuration prior to the board actually being created. And the other thing too now is I'm going to have to generate the board dimensions randomly as well. Okay, tell you what, give me 3 minutes. Kaizo isn't here, otherwise he's the one that was leery about Git. Oh yeah, right, I remember that. All right, give me 3 minutes. I'm gonna take a quick break, and then when I come back, we'll try to implement this wave function collapse system into the run generation. So there's gonna be a couple of things to do. When at the point that the seeded run is created, it needs to generate all of the combat configurations using that wave function collapse. And then when I go into a combat, it needs to take that configuration and actually put it on the board, visually speaking. So that's going to be a little bit of an interesting project here, but yeah, so we're going to start probably we need like a, yeah, I don't know. I want to keep this algorithm in this enemy board generator separate from other algorithms like increasing the strength of the board, choosing the size of the board, all that stuff. So we'll figure out how that works, but I'll be right back in just 3 minutes and we'll continue on. All right, I'm back. Let's get on with this work. So we've got a combat configuration here. Let me look at the scaled board configuration model again. I don't actually know how this is working. Oh, when it does the pick, that's where it's doing the scaling. Interesting. I don't know how much of this is going to be reusable. Yeah, I don't know. What is this? That is not used. Okay, we can get rid of that. I think really all that I need to do here is I can store the base cards in memory. Well, okay, let's get this done first. Let's actually just generate the board. So this combat configuration, yeah, let's generate the board first. So let's do this. Var board is equal to enemy board generator. New enemy board generator. This is a little bit wonky, but I think this is how I have to do this. Actually, I can do this. Board inventory component. We're going to store this outside of the loop. We don't need to create it multiple times. So I'll put it out here. Board inventory component. We got to queue free that. Okay, so board inventory component, we're going to pass that in here. And the first thing we're going to do is say board inventory component.clear board. Unless the enemy board generator does that for me. Might as well do it in here. Okay, so we got the board inventory component. So this is going to, yeah, so now we can do board.generate. Actually, shoot, let me think. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do this. Equals new. We'll just create a new board inventory component in there that belongs to the class. We'll get rid of the constructor. And now I don't need to worry about any of that management here. I can just say new enemy board generator. Okay. Board.generate. This needs to return some kind of model that has the output. And I think that's going to be fetchable from the board inventory component. So I'm going to start with something very basic, I think. I'm just going to repurpose this board configuration model here, I think. This is currently a JSON thing. Board configuration registry. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go nuclear on this. Delete that. Oops, I shouldn't have deleted that. Hold on. Board configuration registry. Delete. We're going to get rid of scaled board configuration model. Delete. Enemy board configuration manager. Enemy board. Yeah, we're going to get rid of that too. Delete that. We're going to keep the board configuration model, and we're going to go in here. Board configuration. We're going to delete this. I'm going nuclear. get rid of this. So now the board configuration model, what I'll do is I'm going to change this. Public dictionary vector2i base card card positions okay. What I'm going to have is this enemy board generator. This is going to return a board configuration model. Okay. And then what we're going to do here is in the board inventory component, we're going to say public void get board configuration. No, this is not a void. Get board configuration model. Maybe we'll call it two board configuration model. Board configuration model. Return new board configuration model. Card positions. Oh, I guess I do need to make this publicly settable is equal to all cards on board dot to dictionary. Why don't you like that? Oh, why is this doing ID? Perfect. Made me cringe a little with that pronunciation. Yeah. Nuclear. I'm a bit leery on Git as well. I prefer my own local source control, though I use GitHub to share my stuff with others. Oh yeah, I think, yeah, just using Git is fine. However you choose to host your Git repositories, I think is a matter of personal preference. But there was somebody in the chat the other day who was just like not using Git at all. Like no self-hosted Git, no GitHub. But yeah, I'm a self-hosting respecter. I use GitHub for convenience purposes, but I also have a script that runs nightly that basically fetches all of my Git repositories. So just in case, I still have all of my data, you know? I have self-hosted GitLab on my home lab. Ooh, interesting. I didn't know GitLab was self-hostable. That's very, very curious. I just copy and paste my code into new notepad files. Yeah. That's funny. Okay, is enemy. Why is this is enemy equals false? What? So set board dimensions. Oh, so I do need to do this. Board configuration model. Public vector2i dimensions. Well, let's call it board dimensions. Board dimensions equals dimensions. Okay. So now this is loading up. Set board dimensions. This can just be board configuration model dot board dimensions. For each var cell in board configuration model dot card positions. For each var card position in that. We don't need to do any of this at all anymore. This becomes card position dot key, card position dot value. I think I reversed those. Cool. Okay, so now in my enemy board generator here, this generate, what I'll do is I'll just return board inventory component dot to board configuration model. So that will take the internal board inventory component. Can these all be read only? And and that will return that out. So when I go back to the seeded run here, now I have the board configuration model. Okay, so this scaled board configuration model, now this is going to go away because I deleted that. So let's just do board configuration model. We'll worry about the scaling in a second here. I just want to get this working. Board configuration model is equal to board configuration model. And I guess I could just do board.generate here. I don't need to store that, although I am probably going to need to do some scaling here, so never mind. Now the other thing that needs to happen is I need to pass in the RNG to this. So public enemy board generator, random number generator, RNG, private read only, random number generator, RNG. This.rng equals RNG. Now anywhere where I'm using mathutil.rng, this needs to become RNG. I'll just make sure I replaced all instances. Okay, perfect. So now the seeded run, I need to pass in the RNG here. Perfect. Alrighty. Generate boss encounter. We'll just do the same thing here. Okay, so that's actually dramatically simplified my code. Oops, well, I guess we'll run it. I was expecting there to be compile issues, yeah. Type or namespace, scaled board configuration model could not be found, right. So create enemy board. This needs to become board configuration model, board inventory component, load board configuration. Everything else should be fine. Let's build again. There's going to be more errors. I watched the rant on Git by Linus the other day, even though he invented it. Don't do it, it uses far too much RAM. Oh, the GitLab self-host. Hello, Kelso. Who's the game? Looked pretty good. The game. How's the game? Yeah, the game is looking and feeling great, so very optimistic about it. I'm very optimistic about it. Oh, my board configuration editor. I might have to delete this as well. Or at least pare it back so that it becomes more of a shoot. I'm gonna have to do something with this. I'm gonna need to pare this back so that it becomes just a WFC tester, basically. Well, let's just make those edits. So we're going to start with, we're just going to untangle everything. So we don't need we do want those dimensions. We don't want the boss checkbox. We don't want the name edit. We don't want any of this down here, so get rid of all that. So all we have is the spin boxes and the 2 buttons. So if I get rid of the spin boxes, or no, if I get rid of the save button, new button, name edit, get rid of all this. So we got the spin boxes, the dimension button, and the WFC button. Yeah, that's right. Okay. We'll get rid of all this stuff. Okay. On save pressed. On load pressed. On file selected. On new pressed. Okay, we don't need the load anymore. Create new. We don't have that anymore, I don't think. Well, let's do this. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Okay. Save is no longer a thing. Goodbye, save. Okay. Might as well just... We'll have to test that to make sure it still works, but I think I deleted everything that needs to be deleted. Board configuration models dot card positions dot select. Yep, that's just a straight drop-in replacement there. Cool, let's try the board configuration editor first. This is now going to become a WFC tester, which is totally fine with me. It doesn't work. Oh, I know why it doesn't work. Board inventory component load board configuration model. Okay, that should work. Okay. I need to get more into the self-hosting stuff. I actually quite enjoy it. What in the heck? Oh, I'm still failing here. Boss checkbox. It's possible that this isn't working the way I thought it was going to, but let's see. Are you cold? Cat was cold. What in the heck? Why isn't this working? Let me board generator. Did I get rid of the on WFC pressed? No. Generate. Okay, so we'll get this working first. I wonder if the board configuration model is just not correct here. Actually, I can attach. Ah, my model is empty. Oh, there's no cards on board. Oh, right. The dimensions are 0 though. Oh, I need to set the dimensions ahead of time. Oh, right. Okay. So I'm gonna need to determine some difficulty scalings here. Let's just make every board vector2.1. Let's just make it a 3x3 board every time for now. Okay. Had my self-hosted as a network drive that had bare repos in it. Nice. I'm not single, I'm self-hosted. That would be a t-shirt. You can make a Git remote anything that has a file path, FTP, or SSH as built-in support. Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. All right. Now this is working. Very cool. So let's go and run the game and see what happens. Oh my gosh. I think that works. I'm gonna get absolutely shredded. Yep. 3x3 boards are hard. What do you know? All right, let's do something. Well, yeah, I'm gonna have to come up with some kind of algorithm for determining how difficult the board is now. This already is a more entertaining board, though, just like chickens and prayer beads and beer. But so I'm curious, if I run the game here and take a look at my logs. Yeah, look at that. I mean, we're talking all the boards together, or not even 1 frame of lag. And these are all 3x3 boards too. So especially if that all is front loaded and then it happens like when you first like generate the level, it'll be totally fine to wait that long. Totally fine. But now we've got the boards actually in the game here, which is awesome. Adding to tree took, yeah, so all that stuff. Look at this, it's taking 1 millisecond to add each card to the board, which is ridiculous. I don't even know how I'm gonna fix that because it's Godot stuff. Anyway, a hardware supplier here in Brisbane had a super special on a 4TB Thunderbolt 40 gigabit per second SSD drive, so I built my own NAS. Wow. I think my next PC is going to have 4TB SSDs in it, just because. Why not, you know? Anyway. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on here that needs to be addressed. So I need a way of determining board difficulty. So I'm going to need to come up with some kind of heuristic that can basically know how difficult to make boards. This is going to be tough. And I don't think that there's like an algorithmic approach to this because difficulty is largely just going to be a subjective measure. I think I might just do something very simple to start. I might just say, I might just make it, you know, the board difficulty is based on the area of the board. So 3x2 would be 6. So the difficulty of that board is 6. And then I can add an additional point for every additional tier that there is. So if I've got a 3x2 board, that's going to be a difficulty of 6. And then if one of the cards on the board is a tier 2, then I increment the difficulty to 7. If one of the boards on the card is tier 3, then I increment the difficulty to 8. So basically, the base score will be treated as if every cell in the board is occupied by a tier 1 card. And then every tier after the first will add to the difficulty score. The problem with that approach, though, is that it's kind of imbalanced, right? Because if you have a 3x2 board that has 6, so it's got 6 cells, but then you've got a piece in there or a card in there that's like tier 5, that difficulty is going to be represented as 10, but would it end up being as difficult, roughly speaking, as a board that was a 5x2? You know what I mean? So, like I said, it's going to be entirely subjective, I think. I'm just going to have to come up with like some magic numbers that make it feel good. But I think I'm going to start with that. I'll use the board area and the tier of the cards as like a proxy for how difficult the board is. And then I can just kind of tweak everything around those just random numbers, you know what I mean? Any thoughts on any of that? 239 Australian dollars. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good deal. 80 terabyte true NAS scale, and yes, I'm hand hoarding almost its capacity. Wow. I thought my what do I have? I think I have 2 4 terabyte drives that are mirrored. I just have like a little dinky NAS. Is that going to set the tier of cards too? Yeah, I think so. Do you have a concept of card power for enemy cards? Like a base number that each card has and can be multiplied divided by other cards on the board? I don't know. I don't. I'm going to kind of just have the heuristic of like a card is roughly like a card that occupies 4 cells is going to be roughly as powerful as every other card that occupies 4 cells. I'll just use that as a heuristic to start, and then if that doesn't work, then I can get more granular. Do I want to do that? Do I want to do that? Well, let's commit what I have first. There's one other thing that I want to do here first. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just go in and start doing that, what I mentioned. So I also have this line in here that's modifying the difficulty based on how far away it is from the start node. The other issue with the approach that I took is that I want to control the size of the enemy boards. Well, let me think. Shoot, I don't know. Anyway, later I'll have a great day. Well, thanks for joining, Rin, and hope to see you in the next one. So I've got a couple of things that I want to change. So I need the board size, but the board size kind of directly controls how powerful the board is. So the problem that I'm running into is, so if I just said, here's the target difficulty of this board, and then find a board size that fits. Although, let me think. All right, let's just try playing around with some numbers here. Base difficulty is equal to 4. We'll do additional difficulty is equal to that. We'll also add some fudging. Well, do I want to do this in here? I'll just put it in here for now, and then I'll refactor it or factor it out somewhere else. Get minimum distance to node. Interesting. Get enemy board health. We're gonna have to probably change this as well. So var total difficulty. Base difficulty plus, okay, let's just do this. Logger, debug, let's do this. We're gonna start logging some things in here. Okay, so generate combat encounters, let's put an end. I don't need this. Get rid of that. Okay. I don't know what Copilot is wanting to do. No. Min board size is equal to 2. Var max board size is equal to 3. This will change depending on what level you're on. So let's do this then. Board size is equal to new vector 2 I rng.rand I range min board size max board size. So we'll just give it, so it's going to be anywhere from 2 by 2 to 3 by 3 for now. So now we could say var base board difficulty is equal to board size dot x. Can I do area? No. That's only on rect. Combat configuration, let's do this. Public int get card tier difficulty. Return board configuration model dot card positions dot values dot sum card dot tier. I can't remember if tier is, yeah, it's 1 by default. So we're going to do card.tier minus 1. Okay, so now, while baseboard difficulty is less than total difficulty, actually, public int get board difficulty, return board configuration model dot board dimensions dot y plus get card tier difficulty. So that's going to give us the total board difficulty there. Now what I can do in here is I can do while board configuration model dot the combat. Oh, I put it on the combat configuration. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should move these into the model. Oops. Okay, while total difficulty, while board configuration model dot get card tier difficulty, I'm gonna get this right one of these days. Get board difficulty is less than total difficulty. We're gonna choose a random card, which I'm just gonna go ahead and put a public int, public void, upgrade random card. We have to pass in the RNG, so the random number generator RNG. Really, I don't really want to create a list every time, but can I do card positions dot element at? Does that work with dictionaries? I guess it will. Dot value dot increment tier. Okay. Board configuration model dot upgrade random card RNG. This is going to throw the entire game out of whack, but I'm here for it. We're going to have to come up with a new currency curve as well. Not that that was a curve, but okay. Upgrade random card. And then it's going to put that board configuration model in there. Okay. So do I want to log some things in here? Let's do this. Current board difficulty, board configuration, upgrading card. All right, well, it's a little bit kind of not sophisticated at all, but I'm just curious, like as a starting point, how that's gonna feel. We got some logging in place, so let's see what happens. So that upgraded quite a bit. So let's take a look. Generating combat encounters, total difficulty 6, currency min, currency max. So that got blown up really fast. Total difficulty 6. Oh shoot, I should segment these a little bit better. So it's easier to read. Hello, Snup Bill. Welcome back. We've got the message Yummers. We always appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you again. Torch, arming sword. There's like no combat encounters on this map. Oh, they're all over here. All right, let's take a look at the logs. Total difficulty 4. Oh, I didn't log the board dimensions. I should do that. logger.debug board size, baseboard difficulty. Oh, wow. Anyway, total difficulty board size 3.3, baseboard difficulty 9. So it generated a 3.3 board. Interesting. Baseboard difficulty is 9. What is the total difficulty? Why is that 4? Base difficulty is 4, additional difficulty, minimum distance to node. Okay, interesting. So the problem is that this could generate... Yeah, that's going to be a little bit weird. So this one, which one is it? Yeah, this one is like ridiculously powerful. So it has a distance of 0. I guess that should count as 1. Total difficulty is 4. This get minimum distance to node is not working. I don't know. I will have to figure that one out. Or maybe... I don't know. We'll figure that out later. So yeah, because it's not... So it generates a 3x3 board right at the start here, which is basically going to be impossible to beat, I think. But I don't know. Let's see if I can just beat it with 2 skeletons. I highly doubt it, because it's going to heal a bunch. And it's going to shield. Oh yeah, I'm not going to beat this one. It's already full health. This is some BS. So it's going to be a little bit more complicated than I thought. Although I might actually win this. If the necrosis kicks in. Probably the necrosis is not going to kick in though. Oh, there it goes. I won. Well, that's not ideal. This is a much more reasonable, like, first encounter. So I think I need to control the size of the board better. How am I going to do that? How are you going to determine the starting cards? I don't know yet. I don't know. It's a good question. I think once I have like a meta progression system, I think what I'd like to do is just let the player choose 2 or 3 cards that they get to start with. So imagine you're playing the game and you have a compendium, and as you discover cards in the game, they get unlocked in your compendium. Then before you start in the next run, you can choose any 2 or 3 cards out of your compendium to start with. You know what I mean? I think that would be kind of cool. That'd be kind of fun, because then it's like, you know, you could have a different starting build, you know what I mean? And I think that'd be really interesting, because like not a lot of roguelike games give you like flexibility in terms of your starting build. A lot of roguelike games, you just start the same way every time. And that can be a little bit annoying. But in this game, if you could choose like 3 cards that synergize really well together as your starting build, then that would be cool. Looks like I'm catching the end. I don't know, we'll keep going for a while. I'm having fun. Yeah, it does sound nice. Yeah, I agree, I agree. Need to find targets in camera now. Oof. Can I use a Bulbasaur as my starter? No. No, you can't. Why not offer a draw of cards at the start? Giving people the free choice might mean it's too easy to force certain builds. Yeah, I mean, it'll depend. I don't want to... I'm going to try it with people able to choose their own cards, and if that doesn't work, or it just becomes too easy, then, yeah, I can do something else. But right now, I need to figure out how to get this difficulty algorithm working. Nintendo will sue you just for that comment, yeah. Like, maybe the starting point is fixed, or not to frustrate the player in case they choose badly. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense for some roguelites, but this is like a strategy game. So, you know, some element of being able to like theory craft is fine. And think of the meme builds too, right? Like think about challenge runs where, you know, in a perfect world, streamers are starting with just like absolute garbage cards on purpose because they want to see if they can get, like, they can beat a run. Forcing them to choose from options incentivizes trying out different strategies. Right, yeah. We'll have to see. I mean, a lot of this is just speculation until it actually gets into the hands of players. So, you know, I'm not particularly committed to any idea. Is there a way I can animate something without using process? Tween. My goal is to animate particle from one position to another. Yeah, tween. I mean, to be really pedantic, tween hooks into the process loop under the hood. But yeah, in terms of not writing your own code for animating it, yeah, tween is the way to go for sure. Is positioned in Frustrum? Nice. Godot's got everything for you. Look at that. Random start is a challenge option. Yeah, random start would be cool. Yeah. There's a lot of things I can do with this game, but I just got to get it feeling good and yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The only problem I see with having all my cards available is that I know I would personally find my favorites and always start with those rather than trying out new starting cards. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm the same way, honestly. Welcome to the stream, Bite-Sized Pixels. I think there are certain ways around that. Like, if you're an achievement hunter, you know, maybe there's an achievement where you have to beat the final boss using, you know, X, Y, or Z cards or something, or... you know, maybe there are just certain conditions that you have to meet for different challenge runs, or, you know, I think there are ways to incentivize the player to change up their starting cards voluntarily. So, yeah, I don't know if that's an insurmountable problem, but it certainly will be a problem. I like the direction this is going. Excited to play it in the future. Yeah, me too. I'm excited to get it in your hands, but I just have to... there's so much to do. So much to do. My friend's working on the music, which is sounding really good. It, like, the music that he's working on right now, it evokes feelings of, like, Diablo, which is perfect. Oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Game dev is hard, yes. Yes, it is indeed. So, I need to come up with a better way of doing this. Here's what I'll do. While board size dot x times board size dot y is less or greater than total difficulty, we're gonna do Can I do this? Oh, I can do that. That seems a little bit dangerous, though. All right, I have a better idea. Just for testing purposes, I'm just going to make every board always 2 by 2. And we'll see how that feels. I just want to see if my general like difficulty algorithm is functioning right before I start messing with how to choose the right board size. Prayer Beads 1, Torch Stein. That is a very close card here. Very close one, but let's see if I can beat this. Oh, the Stein is not functional at all. So I'm gonna have to investigate that. That was a failure of wave function collapse, I think. Because this is placed and it hasn't benefited anything. But I won. And I got a ton of currency. Stein, Villager 2, Chicken. Okay, now that Stein is gonna definitely work. Ooh, the chicken critted me. That is way too much currency, but that's all right. Let's go here. So this is just a healing board. Oh goodness. This is going to be a DPS check. Although, yeah, so there's another restriction I need to add. Since this is only a healing board, it's literally impossible for me to lose because the necrosis kicks in and kills it. So I need to add some additional constraints. Like Stein can be placed without any minions on the board. Some boards are generated without the capability to deal damage. All healing. I think those should be easy to, or relatively easy to put in to that wave function collapse. I just need to add a couple more constraints, I think. Managed to make this one line. It's an enumerator, but I don't think there's a better way. I have an actual advice question, but feel free to not answer if it's something part of your course. How do I reframe my thinking from inheritance to composition? Oh, interesting. Well, I mean, you're already building in Godot, right? I mean, the way I would say it is like, yeah, the way of building games in Godot is already composition based. So I think are you building in Godot or are you, I forgot, are you Unity or Unreal or something? Maybe that advice is not helpful if you're not using Godot. Yes, Godot. Okay, yeah, so you're already using the composition pattern when you're building your scenes, right? Because every node you add to a scene is a component, essentially, that provides some modular piece of functionality that can be leveraged by your scene. So you're already kind of thinking in that way when you're building your scenes in Godot. And so what I would think about it as like doing a composition pattern is like you're extending the library of nodes available to you, but the nodes that you're creating are gameplay specific, right? So like it wouldn't make sense for Godot to have a built-in health component because like not every game has health. But if your game does have health, then you're essentially creating a health provider node or a health component node that gets added to your library of nodes that you can use to compose your scenes. So maybe that's the way that I would think about it, reframe it. But yeah. So basically, like, yeah, I would just treat it as if you're extending the Godot base library of nodes, and that means following the same patterns that Godot uses, where you have your functionality built into the node, and then you expose a bunch of signals that can notify when things internal to the node have changed, and all that good stuff. So my idea is to spread fire. I want a particle to travel from original node to a new enemy node. My idea is to make it node 2D with the particle at a global position, then free it. Can you think of a better way? Well, the other way you could do it is you could just spawn new particle scenes on the positions where you want the fire to spread to. So you don't necessarily have to move the particle, you're just creating new instances of it. But I think the way that you are thinking about doing it is perfectly fine as well. One easy way to fix both those problems is to force the first collapse to always be a minion, I guess. Yep, that's true. Although I don't necessarily want... like, it's possible for boards to not have minions. So, for instance, the arming sword is not a minion, but it deals damage, right? What I could do is force each first placement to be like a damager, right? And in that case... But then I might not get enemy boards that are like loaded. Like I could have an enemy board that just does a bunch of fire damage, you know? So I kind of want to like not... I don't want to provide any like obvious guarantees like, oh, the enemy always has one damage dealer, because now I could just expand that out and I could say, well, the first placement either has to be a damage dealer or something that applies fire or whatever else, you know what I mean? So I guess I could just broaden it out to ensure that it does some kind of damage. But yeah, I'm gonna think about that some more. I honestly, the wave function collapse thing is one of those things where I just started learning about it today, and so I just need to sleep on it and then wake up in the morning with sort of like a fresh look at it. I think I'm getting to my limit of learning new things for today, so I ended up building up more like React components. I see. I think the problem was I was having, for example, was having to make the rigid body the root node of the component. Otherwise, the visual wouldn't move without the body. Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, in that case, like if your root node needs to be like a physics body, I don't know if I would use composition for that. So like all of my characters in Gunforged are character body 2Ds. And I didn't make those components. I just said, oh, there's a new character body 2D. And then I just drove the character body 2D with the components. So I had like a path follow component and a velocity component and all that stuff. You're welcome, Schlurgy. You're welcome. All right. I'm kind of... I don't want to do this technical stuff anymore. I kind of want to do some art. But... yeah, I'm gonna need to brainstorm, probably with my little AI companion, brainstorm some ideas for making a nice balance curve. Ooh. Dang. Oh, you know what? I should be testing this for real. Because right now I'm adding a crit chance artifact to myself. But then if I made a component script, the root, the composition scripts would need signals and whatnot connected to the root. Right, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem that I ran into too. So I think what I did in my game is like, yeah, I just broke out all the common functionality into components that I could add as children. Chicken, Stein, mutton. This one should be fine. The player controller I'm working on in Godot depends on its parent being a character body instance. I use exports and signals to handle interactions, and it works pretty okay. Yeah, that would work. Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, is this chick... are they really going to out-heal me? You darn dirty chicken. Might add some other rules to limit how much healing can be on a board as well. There's 2 dogs. This one should be fine. Still way too much money coming out, but that's all right. Stein, mutton, Stein. Oh, see, this board is not gonna do anything. So definitely some work to do for sure, but I don't think any of these problems are insurmountable. Not by a long shot. Gulp. Gulp again. Prayer beads, dog, 3 mutton. Oh yeah, this is going to be an easy one. So more work to do for sure, but you know, that's how it goes. Okay. Torch, Stein, mutton. So yeah, this is not doing anything. So this needs to not be placed. I think I'm missing this sort of bi-directional. Yeah, am I missing? What am I missing? I'm missing. I suspect that the Stein is being placed without considering whether there are minion cards. Yeah, I'm too tired. I'm too tired to think about that right now. I'm gonna have to rest on that. Think about it some more. What? Bust out at the what? I don't even know what that is. Sizzling? I'm just rapid prototyping, but keeping in mind how I'm structuring the code so there isn't a mounted or refactoring later. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's reasonable for sure. Me. Ooh. Alchemy again? Do I dare do it? Do I alchemize all these things together? Let's go. Oh no. 5 damage. Damage increases by 4. Ooh, that's a good one. Let's do that. Upgrade a card. Might as well upgrade that. Chicken Mutton Stein. Oh yeah, this dagger is actually going to do work. Goodbye. I'm going to skip this alchemy here. Chicken. So definitely a lot of work to do still. Is this going to generate... This is the boss board. Let's see. Nice. Cool. All right, very basic difficulty scaling algo. So I think my next focus is going to be to get that wave function collapse working in a much more reasonable manner. I mean, it's working pretty well. Just needs some more tweakage. But the chicken song from the Minecraft movie, oh, I see. Oh, I see. I did not see that. Okay, let's do something fun. I still want to do some work, but I'm kind of getting tired of the technical work for now. So let's do another enemy ability. We might as well. Now the thing about this though is I'm working on a different branch right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch back to the master branch. And then what I'll do is I will rebase the wave function collapse branch onto master after I commit the new card that I'm working on, so that it's up to date. Because I don't want to put, like, if I happen to axe the wave function collapse, I don't want to forget that I did a new enemy card on that branch and then like it disappears into the ether, or worse yet, have to like cherry pick all those commits. Better to just do it this way, I think. So what do we want to work on for the next piece of art? Ooh, a lamb would be kind of fun. A road sign, anvil, bar stool, a wench, shield, trebuchet, horse, sweet roll, horseshoe. Any other ideas for any like villager items? Hammer, apron, jester, anvil. Oh, maybe like a scythe could be a cool one, although that's, well, don't, it's awful, but the song is catchy. Okay. Yeah, any suggestions? Actually, tell you what, if any of you have any ideas of what villager card you want me to work on, so the theme we're looking for is something that fits into like a medieval village peasant kind of lifestyle. It could be an item, it could be a character, it can be an animal, it can be whatever, you know. If you have any ideas, put them in the chat, and when I come back, I'll see if there are any other ideas in the chat, and we'll go from there. So give me 3 minutes, I'll be right back, and then we'll draw a new card. Hello, I'm back. I'm already seeing some very interesting suggestions in the chat. Everyone who's not taking this exercise seriously is going to be banned. So Carlos, you're getting banned. Crames, you're getting banned. I'm kidding. Like Boy That Cried Wolf, what it does, I don't know, but that would be an interesting one. Yeah, introducing some like fairy tale or what are they called? Fables, allegories. Introducing some characters from those might be kind of cool. Blacksmith. I'm thinking like little elves or something. I don't know if we want to go too mystical with it, but blacksmith. Yeah, blacksmith could work. A no-nonsense wolf. I was thinking it could be like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Just like a wolf with a sheep costume on. Village Idiot is a good one. Village Idiot is a really good one. If they're an inanimate objects lamppost, yeah, I have a sign, so there definitely can be inanimate objects for sure. Guaranteed crit every third turn. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. That's funny. That's funny. Oh no, yeah. Hansel and Gretel. I kind of like the Village Idiot. I just don't know how I would draw him. A direction post, yeah. I missed the original premise. We're trying to decide on what new cards to draw for the villagers, for the villager faction. So if you think of anything that has like a medieval peasant village theme, so things, you know, like blacksmiths and horses and lampposts and, you know, a garden could be one of them. Just anything, like any kind of thing that just fits into a village. Can be an inanimate object, it can be a person, it can be a tool, a weapon. Drawbridge or town gates. Okay, okay. That's a good one. Drawbridge. I like Village Idiot. I'm gonna write that down. Any other suggestions? That would be really funny, actually. Horse dung. Village mayor. Oh, the mayor, yeah. What else? Let me think. Some kind of crop. Barley, maybe? Or carrots? A baker. Ooh, a baker. Baker's a good one. Potato. Potato. Traveling salesman. Okay. I kind of think like maybe just one card that's just like crops and it has like carrots and potatoes in it. I would say tomatoes, but those didn't exist in medieval Europe. Candlestick maker. Ooh, a candle. Yeah, a candle maker. We do scarecrow yet? No, no scarecrow. Scarecrow's a good one. Like salad, yeah, true. Scarecrow is good. I kind of like scarecrow, yeah, for sure. All right. Do we like the scarecrow? I already kind of drew a scarecrow for the map, but we can do it again. Would be field. Oh, I was thinking like a bushel. Like I was thinking like the crops are picked and they're like you know, in a bushel or something, not exactly a cornucopia, but just like a basket, you know. Do we have a cat yet? We do not have a cat. That's a great one. Oh, now I kind of want to draw the cat. Just learned that doing I+1 divided by 10 is implicitly an int, and I need to change it to 10f to get decimal values. The joy of programming. Yep, that'll bite you. The interesting thing is that happens in GDScript too, which you wouldn't expect, but integer division definitely happens in GDScript if you're not careful. Number 7. So I think between the scarecrow and the cat, those sound good to me. Because we already have a dog. Kind of want to do a cat. But the scarecrow would be interesting because I could make it a T-shaped card, I think. Which would be actually, that would be a good test of the wave function collapse. A T-shape. But I would also have to draw a new card art for that. Let's do a cat, maybe. do a cat so I can finally see how to draw one. I'm gonna embarrass myself, guaranteed. Wave function collapse. Yeah, that's the algorithm I'm using for the enemy board generation. Let's do a cat, and I'm gonna do something interesting with it. I'm gonna make it a 2x2 card with the top right cell missing. Oh, wait a minute. I just realized that this is going to be a problem here. Okay, well, let's just ignore that for now. We don't need to worry about problems. This one. Okay, and the reason I'm going to do it like this is because... Oh, this is going to be good if I can pull it off. So the reason I'm going to do this is because the cat... Oh, goodness. So the cat is going to be stretching. So it's going to have its butt up in the air like this. It's going to come down. Stretch like that. Have its little... cat face there with its little cat ears. Okay. And then its tail is going to be curled up like that. Do you see what I'm talking about? So like it's stretching, you know what I mean? Hairless cat could be a hairless cat. Isn't filling the board classic knapsack problem, or is it harder because of shapes? Well, it's not just about filling the board. It's about all the cards, and not all the cards, but some cards in the game are useless unless they are adjacent to other cards. Admittedly, I don't know what you're referring to when you say the knapsack problem. But, oh, you need to select items with varying weights and values to maximize the total value while staying within the given weight limit. Yeah, so it's not just about that. It's not just about filling the board. It's about making sure that the board has a configuration that actually is compelling so that you're not ending up with cards that say, oh, well, I buff minion cards and there are no other minions on the board. Or I buff adjacent ritual cards and there are no adjacent ritual cards. So the wave function collapse is a way of adding constraints to the problem to create outputs that are more sensible. Yeah, you're welcome. And glad to have you here at the stream too. So this cat, I don't want to look at a cat. I own cats. I should know what they look like. I don't need to look at a reference. I will not look at a reference. I will not look at a reference. I think I can just shift this whole thing up a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean 1 pixel. Not quite. That's also not quite right. Let me think. When my cats stretch, what do they look like? I think this rumpus is too big. The other problem is that the arm doesn't look big enough. I still think the rumpus is too big. Okay, that looks a little bit better. I think this is too... There we go. I think that looks better. Although now the problem is that the ground level is different. Almost there, almost there. I think, what if I just bring all of this down? Okay. All right, are we getting there now? Bring this down a little bit. It looks a little weird. Why does it look weird? I think the proportions are wrong. Cats have been very difficult for me to draw, and I own two. Yeah. It's definitely not. Cats are not easy to draw for whatever reason. Yeah, I think this just needs to be skinnier, maybe. That doesn't look terrible, actually. I'm gonna just use a different color for this momentarily, so I know where the arm is. Oops. I think I'm going to use a different color then. Oh, you know what? I think that arm... Let me think. Don't want to make it look too much like a rat. Definitely don't want that. Okay. The head is going to be a problem. Never mind. I think I got it. Okay. I think the shape is okay now. Although the arm still doesn't look... Maybe just with that extra... Okay, never mind. That looks better now. Rat would be a good card too, like a larder rat or sewer rat or something. That would be a good card. Let's see. Although maybe that would be more fitting for the player, actually. Yeah, I think a rat would be more fitting for the player. That's a good idea, though. That's definitely a very, very good idea. Okay, I don't know if I want to use this color for the cat, though, because I've already used this color for the dog. Might try to make the cat white, and then if I can, kind of make it have some, well, what can I do? Let me do the shading first. How am I going to do this? Okay. Oh, he's cute. He's a cute little cat. The face still looks a little bit weird to me. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I might be overthinking it. I'm overthinking it, I think. I mean, the face does look kind of weird. I don't know what it is about the face that's making me weird, but that's all right. Maybe we can do a background leg as well. I don't really know if that reads as a background leg or not, but Get the little paw pad colors in there, maybe. I don't know. And then, should I try to do like a pattern? Is that going to look good or is that just going to look weird? Hello? Little cow cat. Oh, he's cute. I don't know, the face might be a little bit too much. But I can do the arm maybe. Tell me you wouldn't pet that cat. Tell me you wouldn't pet that cat. Hello, Kazori, welcome back. You could use a dark color for the cat because cats are evil. Don't say that. Hey, I got a white cat, awesome. Yeah, I love white cats. Got to go getting dinner, all right. It's Platters night, ooh. Enjoy your dinner, Chris, thanks for joining. Ooh, your own chicken, nice. All Greek to me. Where's Mike and Dev when you need him, right? Seriously. Do we like the dark spots on the cat or no? Do we prefer just pure white or does he look cute with the spots? Ban that guy. Oh, the guy that said cats are evil, yeah. I don't know. I like the spots. Okay, Krames likes the spots. All right, spots it is. I like the spots too. I was just mostly looking for validation. The tail also needs to be thicker. Might be a little thick, but I think that's okay. Well, how is it? Not really sure I like this little orange pixel there, but I think it's... maybe it's okay. Are we feeling okay about it? Cats are not evil. Don't you dare talk about me so Nori like that. Spots are cute. Okay. Cats aren't evil, just a-holes. Yep. Base of the tail looks too thick still. Is that better? I think it's okay. I think it's okay. Now there's a problem here, but let's just go ahead and get this exported. Ship it. You like it? Looks better? All right. Oh, did I closed Godot because I changed branches. Right. Add cat art. Let's see. All right. Card to create new resource. Cat. Nope. Card definition resource. Cat. Cat. The dimensions are 2 by 2, but we have an excluded cell which is at 1, 0. Art, quick load, cat is flippable. Yeah, we can't turn it on to flippable because that's gonna change the. Okay, well, is enemy minion. Should I tag the cat as ritual too? Might as well. All right, so we'll give the cat a 20% critical chance. Or, sorry, Godot thinks it's a 1.999999709 chance. We're going to be fighting the cat. I don't know if I have it in me. Yeah, well, you can lose to the cat if you want. There's nothing saying you have to win against the cat. Oh, you know what I just realized? I think one of the reasons why this looks weird is that I don't have... the background leg. Okay, I think that'll work. All right, now we got to add the cat. What should the cat do? What should the cat do? Primordial pouch, yeah. My one cat has the biggest primordial pouch of all time. Cat. What should the cat do? Cat should apply bleed. I don't have a bleed effect. Oh, it would be perfect for bleed, though. I don't have bleed yet, though. I'm not going to add it right now, either. Either pushes your mug off the counter or sits in a box too small for its body. Cat scratch fever, so poison. Oh, yeah. Pushes the mug off the counter, yeah. That's funny. Paralysis chance might be good for the cat. Paralysis chance. I don't know. Occasionally it'll knock a card back into your inventory and you can't use it for the rest of the combat encounter. That's a funny one. Copy paste the fire, swap the art hue and call it bleed. Put emit into the game. I don't know what that is. Emit. I'm thinking maybe the cat can have a chance to paralyze with some damage. But I also want to kind of give it an adjacency buff because I don't have any minions, I don't think, of the enemy that have adjacency bonuses. Amir. Oh, Azir. Yeah, Azir. No, it's not quite him. It's not quite him, but close enough, I guess. It's a cat. I want to give the cat like an adjacency buff. Hello, Raised Ball. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Oh, L-shaped. Yes, indeed, L-shaped. Yeah. Paralysis chance. This is being used for the zombie. Is there like a prevent status effect ability? No, there isn't that yet either. Tag. I might just do tag scaled damage. I don't even know what this does. I forgot. Let's look at my AI written docs. Deals damage scaled by the number of allied cards with a specific tag. Okay, let's do that. New tag. Oh, I don't have control over the scaling. Well, it's kind of weird, I guess, but... And then we'll do new simple paralysis, or no. Is this a base composed ability? Oh, it is, okay. Paralysis chance. All right, let's see if that works. This will be an interesting use case for my algorithm, the wave function collapse, because it's an odd shaped card and also it has adjacency requirements. Although, is this an adjacent tag skill damage? Oh, there is no adjacency. Where is this? Oh, it's used as a, oh, it's in the marionette. Oh, I see. Okay. I may want to change that a little bit, but let's go and do this. I'm going to add it to my own inventory first. So you don't use GDScript. Why? I just like C# better. By the way, welcome to the stream. Help. Great to see you. Ever thought about using Godot curve or resource to handle scaling? I've done that. Yeah, I've done it in Gunforged. But at the same time, it's like, you might as well just model it in code, because how often realistically are you going to be changing the balance curves That's where resources are useful if you're creating a lot of different curves all the time that can be slotted into other things, or you need to edit them all the time. But you can also just model the curve in code, and once you have it done, it can just stay in the code, you know? So there's not too much of a point in doing it, in my opinion. Look at how cute! That's definitely the cutest card that I've drawn for this game, for sure. Why is it so buffed? Oh. The cat has a 20% crit chance, too. Cat is OP, OP. Prayer beads, mutton, and ox. Let's go. Ooh, got the crit. That is a cute cat. The cat is not going to be a player card, though. I'm just using it as a player card to test. So now if I go to my board configuration editor and I load this up, let's see how the wave function collapse algorithm decides to place the cat, if it ever decides to place the cat. Oh, I'm not on the right branch. Son of a bee. Okay. Let's see if I can do this without making a fool of myself. Git pull rebase origin master. Successfully rebased. Okay. Force pushing YOLO. Okay. Board configuration editor. Let's see if this works now. All right, let's try it. Oh, it put the cat in there. Look at that. Boom. Oh. Yeah, it's actually fitting the cat in pretty well. Look at that. Very nice. Look at how cute. My dog looks terrible in comparison. Goodness gracious. It's getting there. The game is getting there. Oh, the one thing I do want to see is if the cat can apply paralysis to my minions. I think they can, but can you force maximize and open an engine? I feel like that would save you a lifetime. Well, the thing is, yes, I can do that, but when I'm testing off stream, I don't want the screen to be fully maximized. I can't read that text. I gotta fix the text on the map. I thought the cat was an NPC card. Yeah, it is, yeah. Maybe you could make an undead cat for the player. I could do that. Yeah, like have an undead. Yeah, that'd be kind of funny. I don't know how to draw skulls and skeletons. You guys want me to draw a cat skeleton? Does your wave function collapse have a strength value? E.g. like each card has a value and the strength is the sum of all card values? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I may have to add something like that, but we'll see. Where the heck is all the cats? I'm seeing a lot of chickens, not so many cats. Oh, wait. I forgot. I forced all of these to be... I forced all the combat encounters to be 2 by 2. So if a cat is going to be generated on a map, on a board... it's going to have to be basically by itself. Son of a biscuit. This is not a very efficient way of testing. Are you serious? I guess we'll never see if the cat works. Wonder if it's just not being generated. I suppose that's a possibility. Oh, nope, there's a cat. And I'll fight the cat with my own cat. Oh my gosh, that's a tier 3 cat. Alright, I'm going to remove all my cards and I just want to see... well, not all of them. Let's put my cat there. Let's see if my cat gets paralyzed. Oh, my cat paralyzed someone. The chicken. I'm not being paralyzed either. Oh, am I gonna win? I won. Wow. Well, I don't know why the paralysis wouldn't be working, but I would like to see it confirmed. Confirmed working. But anyway, I don't want to go through that whole rigmarole again of finding a cat. I need to do some more work on the wave function collapse, but I'm pretty exhausted. Learning new stuff takes a lot of energy. All right, one more run and then we'll see. If there's no cat, then there's no cat. Okay, I know I said one more run, but one more run. Did you do that WSC this morning or off stream? I tried to get into it this morning, but I was not smart enough at that moment to do it. So I did it I spent this afternoon learning about it. So my main method of learning, this is like the first time I've learned something brand new. I basically just used AI to learn about it. And I just kept asking questions and like having it simplify things for me. And then once I got a bunch of code snippets and once the AI had explained everything, I then went and tried to do my own very minimal implementation of wave function collapse. And it ended up working. And then I was able to layer on a bunch of new stuff, but I still have to do more layering on. But it was a very, very cool experience having the AI be my personal tutor teaching me something. I definitely enjoyed it. Because, like, I don't know, Google searches are useless right now. Like, I can't find answers to those kinds of questions very easily on Google. Like, just give me a minimal implementation of a wave function collapse. Like, it's not, I couldn't find that with a Google search. I tried. Maybe I wasn't searching right, but why go to Google when the AI can just put it right there in your window for you? Anyway. Anyway, it was cool. I liked it. It's a great way to learn new stuff for sure. Okay, last one, and then we'll call it quits. Last one, and then we'll call it quits. No cats. All right. Well, that'll be it for the stream today. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you all for being here. Had a lot of fun streaming today. I'll be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, so hope to see you there if you're interested. Also, I have my online co-op multiplayer course available now. This will teach you how to build a complete online cooperative multiplayer game in the Godot engine, and you'll learn all of the essentials: remote procedure calls, server authoritative architecture, all that good stuff. So that's linked in the description below, as well as all the other ways you can support me if you're interested. Thank you again for watching. I appreciate you all. And thank you to the VOD watchers and lurkers out there. I know that you're out there. And I'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.